What's good, fellas? It's your boy Oak, back on track. We're in the Formula Mazdas, this time at the famous Nurburgring for a 10-lap race, and I must say it was an absolute banger, my friends. We qualified P2, as you can see there, just over a 10th behind pole position. But as we get going, you'll see Mr. YXMP lags out, and we do start from pole position. And as we get going here off the line, you see that we get a pretty good exit headed into turn number 1. We're going to be pressured here now by Mr. ITB Zone. We'll come to find out that he is a pretty decent racer, but he does make a mistake there, and that's certainly going to drop him down a couple positions. We're going to be hit coming out of turn number 2, headed into turn number 3. That's going to give Tajay in third place a good chance for a run at both of us. Tajay has a look up the inside here, but he gets just a little bit too aggressive, and that's going to end up being his race most likely done and dusted, as he's certainly going to fall down the order. For us, that leaves us in first position headed into turn number 5 for what is likely now potentially, hopefully, our very first win in Forza Motorsport. And as we come through turn 6 and then 7, you'll see that we're still under an immense amount of pressure, as ITB Zone has certainly crawled his way back from third place and is now very uncomfortably, for me at least, in our slipstream, only 2/10 behind. You'll see that we try to take the inside line here. That's going to leave him on the outside. That's going to be better for us, as now we have the better line through turns 9 and 10 headed into turn 11. And as for now, we've certainly defended our position as best as we possibly can. As we fast forward here to the end of lap 3, you'll see here that the stage is certainly being set for what is going to be an absolutely titanic battle between myself and ITB Zone, as he's now pulled the gap to within half a second. As for both of us, we've created a gap of over 4 seconds to both third and fourth place behind us. So whoever wins this battle certainly has a good shot at winning the race. As we head down now into turn number 1, we spot our braking point somewhere around the 75-meter mark, I would say, but we go a bit too deep, so we're going to have a poor exit coming out of 1. That should give Zone a good run at us through 2 and 3, but it seems that he struggles to get on the power in our mirrors, so we're actually going to get as best of an exit as we possibly can through turns 4 headed into 5. And for this race, especially in this car, you'll see that the margin of error is quite thin. You know, the margin between pushing the car just enough to have a competitive lap time and sort of being on the edge of traction and pushing this car to where you end up sort of in the grass really is sort of towing a very fine line. So as you can see here, we're gonna try to put in the best lap times that we possibly can, but we're only gonna be up 2/10, and we still have Zone in our slipstream now, only about a second behind us, headed into turns 9 and 10. We're going to spot our braking zone just past the 100-meter mark, drop it down into second gear, get on the power as early as we possibly can for a good exit coming out of turn number 10. We're going to be up half a second now on this lap, and as you can see here, even with the pace improvement, we still have Zone right behind us, once again in our slipstream headed into turn number 1. So we're going to ever so slightly work our way towards the inside, scrub off as little amount of time as we possibly can, and try to get as good of a line as we possibly can. Once again, he is right behind us, again under half a second between ourselves and the guy in second place. He's gonna get a pretty solid exit coming out of turn number 2 and get a good look at us headed into 3. We're gonna try to park it on the apex, get once again get on the power as early as we possibly can. And I felt like through this race I was getting on the power early and earlier coming out of 4. I think there's a lot of pace to still be found through that complex. But as you can see here, he's still within half a second, and we are putting in what has to be some of our best laps, as we are only less than a tenth off of what was just our best lap only a lap before. And folks, if you are enjoying this battle, please leave a like and a comment down below. But as we head down into turns 9 and 10, we are still under pressure, folks. He's going to leave it on the outside. We're going to drop it down in the second gear. Once again, get on the power as early as we possibly can. We do get a pretty solid exit through that complex. We're only going to be down about 1/100th of a second coming out of turn number 11. But as you can see here, we do get a pretty good exit, and so that's going to get us a little bit more time coming across the line here, setting a new fastest lap of 1:37.8. That's still not going to be fast enough to put this guy away, as he's only 2/10 behind us headed into turn number 1. We're going to get on the power once again. He should get a pretty good run on us from turns number 2 into 3, and as you can see here, folks, he's right behind us, putting on an amazing amount of pressure. But both of us are having fantastic races up until this point. We're gonna get a very good exit coming out of 4. That's gonna push our lead to just over half a second. But noticing that lead, I get a bit too excited, and so I go deep headed into turn 5. I think at this point he was struggling on tires because he did not dive bomb me at that time, and I think that probably would have been the place to get me, because otherwise I just don't crack here. So as we come through turn 7 down into 8 and 9, you'll see here what I'm suspecting to be the effects of tire wear in this game. It's been well known that when your tires start to decline, they really sort of fall off a cliff here. And as you can see, we're going to go into the braking zone. Zone himself is actually going to go a little bit too deep when he gets on the brakes. He's going to have to take evasive maneuvers. We're going to try to make it through this last turn. Zone, I'm not sure if Zone ever tried to brake. I'm not sure if Zone's plan was to take me out. Either way, Zone has certainly taken himself out of contention for the win of this race. That's going to push Ninabon up to second place, PK Slim up to third place, as Zone has lost what I'm going to suspect to be loads of positions. That's going to leave us on the hard tire, which certainly still have plenty of life left in them, as we're only down less than a tenth headed into turn number 3, with 3 laps left in this race, and the work is still left to be done here, folks. And as we fast forward now to lap number 10, the work that I mentioned that needed to be done certainly is on its way to being completed, as we're still setting faster sector times at the end of this race on what are worn hard tires. This has certainly been one of our more dominant performances early on in this game, and will come across the line finishing P1 after a great battle to secure our first win in Forza Motorsport.